All right, so it's Hyrum Grant's turn to share his mission experiences. I guess it's memories of Russia with love type of thing. A little bit like we did with Jacob the other week, just an opportunity for him to share with friends, family, members of the ward, all people who want to hear about his mission experiences, the good stuff, the challenging stuff, the spiritual stuff. We'll have a look at some of his pictures as well. But usual format, we'll just jump straight in. Take us all the way back, Hyrum, to when you received your mission call. How was that done? Who was there? What were your thoughts when you saw that it was Russia and this language? And tell us a bit about that.
So I was at college and my mom just shot me a text and was like, "It's here." And I probably didn't do the best thing. I told my college tutor that I was leaving. So I got out of the class and just left. Went straight back home, got the call, and I wanted to do it for a long time. And I just opened it by myself. So I in the room, opened it, and it said Russia, and I thought it was lying for a second. Because everybody had been saying that they knew where I was going. One person actually had a dream about it, and all these different things. And it was actually Simon Stanton that said, "You go to Russia." I was like, "Oh, okay." I was really, really excited. Wait for family to get home. Let them know. And parents are absolutely gobsmacked. It's hilarious. That was. But yeah.
And then you I guess we'll fast forward a bit. You board the plane, and you went over to the Provo MTC. Let's just jump into some pictures. We'll have a look at that. See if you want to talk us through any of the pictures at the MTC or.
Yeah. So that one where I'm in crutches is where I sprained my ankle. Well, obviously every day in the MTC you get to go to the gym, and that one day out of all of them, you can actually see Ella Rosenhan laughing as well.
Yeah.
Was the day I decided to play basketball, and I jumped funny and landed on it badly. And then
you must have had a tour then of around Temple Square and such.
Yes, and that's where the picture from Liberty Dale is.
Now, I know you're a tall lad anyway, but it is, yeah, it's pretty tough in there, isn't it?
It's ridiculous.
On the mask, yeah. Oh, back to the crutches. So what was it like in the MTC? Was it an enjoyable experience? How long were you there for? Picking up the language, those types of things?
I loved it. I was with a really good companion. I had an incredible district, and the teachers were awesome. I was there for about 9 weeks because it was Russian. And that's the MTC district right there.
Yeah.
And we're all getting sent to Russia. One of our teachers actually said in the mission that I went to, which was super awesome. We got to learn a lot.
Lovely. And were you just then excited to get out to actually land in Russia? And I tell you, just before we get, I think there's a few more here. This must be just outside the MTC block, is it?
Yeah, so those were all the elders in our zone the day that we left. We had the largest zone in the MTC at the time. It was awesome.
Is this you at the back here?
Yeah.
Great. There's another picture. I scrolled through them early. I'll come back to some of these in a moment, but there's you and Jacob. Usual missionary pictures. It was just a great shot of the temple, and it looked as if it was from your bedroom window. This one here. Is this from what window is this from? Was this the view that you had, or?
So that's from the new building that they have, the MTC, where they do all what's called the really nice teaching rooms. So we were only there for 3 weeks, and we actually we got moved to one of the older ones. And for me to take that picture, we had to go all the way back, and that's what me and my companion was doing, just because it was a lot nicer.
That's a great shot. So anyway, let's jump forward then. Let's go to, so you're landing in Russia. What's your first impressions? And how are you feeling when you get there?
absolutely exhausted. So we took a flight from Utah to New York, then from New York to Moscow, and then from Moscow to Yekaterinburg. The only problem is because our flight was delayed in New York, we missed our flight to Yekaterinburg. So we had to wait another like 4 hours till we could get on the flight again. And it was really cool. We got down the stairs, got all of our baggage and everything, and the mission president and his wife were there with our trainers. It was really nice. And I was just thrown straight into it. We were told, okay, you guys are going to get put in a taxi. And the whole journey, they're just speaking to the taxi driver in Russian, me and this other guy from the NPC. We had no idea what was going on. And that's the mission presentation on sister with them as well, which was really... we went to the mission home, met all the people who were in the MLC, and we were told, okay, are you tired? I couldn't answer, so President Beck said, okay, take a shower, go to bed. We sent to the mission home that night. And I honestly thought Russia was really pretty. There's a lot of forest when you get straight into the country. All I could see was forest and blue skies. It was really nice.
They do say that Russia is one of the most picturesque countries. And I know the Western media might give Russia a bit of a hard ride sometimes, but it is a beautiful country. I've only seen it on images and things like that, but yeah. So tell us a bit about your first area. Where was that and your companion and adjusting to missionary life? How did that go for you?
So my first area was Yekaterinburg. We were serving in Yekaterinburg second branch, and I was with Elder Stone, my trainer. Absolute beast. And it was very odd because we were serving on we were living on a place called Hyrum, and it was very much the ghettoist place of the city. And to get anywhere near to the city, we'd have to take an hour bus ride. And first time we could get the metro and go around everywhere. That place as well was really sketchy. It was most probably more healthy to drink like Coke or than the water that was coming through the tap. And it definitely had a lot of character. The members in that branch are amazing. I actually ended up finishing my mission there as well. It was really nice. Adjusting was really difficult because obviously you come out of NPC and you think, I know everything. I've got that NPC drive. I don't need anybody to tell me anything. And then you hear your companion speak perfect Russian, just communicate with everybody, no problem. And then you get told, oh, you don't do this, all these new rules, all these new things. And just running to the bottom of it, I really enjoyed it, but a lot of times it was very stressful.
And what missionary life's different in Russia from what we hear? So how's it, I guess, a day in the life of a missionary in Russia different to a normal proselyting missionary?
So obviously the main thing is we're not actually missionaries over there, we're volunteers. For you to be called as a missionary from a foreign country over there, you have to be paid due to certain visas. And as we were there, it was like, we were there on religious doings visas. So all we could do was just speak to people on the street. We couldn't cross the line, we couldn't open doors, we couldn't do any of that. It was very much, if we saw someone we wanted to speak to them, we would have to make a friendship with them and then go further on and invite them to activities that are in the branch or around the church, or if we got into the subject. And most of the time, it would have to be them asking the question, them showing their interest. So we'd get up, if we had meetings with members, we'd go to them at studies. Or not, we'd contact or meet with some of our friends, our teachers, and keep going.
Lovely. Well, so that was you're in your first area as well. Mm-hmm. Tell us a bit more about your next transfer and what that was like and who you served with.
So I stayed on Hyrum for 3 transfers. 2 of them was obviously with my trainer, and then after that I was with Paul, whose Russian was incredible. I was very lucky. And I was able to learn a lot from him, mostly from the language, but lot from this person. Then after that, even before that, because you serve in Russia as well as a foreigner, a lot of the time you have to leave the country to renew your visa. So the first part of serving with our Polis, we actually went to Finland. And because I had a problem with one of my passports, we had to stay there overnight, which meant we could go to the temple. It was super awesome. And she said, overnight, then go back. After that transfer, I was at the other branch in Yekaterinburg with one of my really good friends. And the same thing again. But most of that is we did a lot of work with people who weren't coming to church, and it really helped us understand what it really means to have a friend and to be a friend to those who need it. It was really good.
Let's have a look at some of the photos. I'll scroll through photos. You stop me while you want to go. Let me just jump back up a bit because I did go through some of these pretty quick. Obviously, the things that jump out on some of the pictures you've seen is the cold weather. I guess some of the military. There's one of a tank, and I think there's other ones a little bit later on down there. But
yeah.
So who's this chap here?
So that is me. Me and Elder Stone met him in my second transfer, and he ended up getting baptized, which was super awesome. He's from Nigeria, came to Russia for work, got absolutely stuffed over. He had a really rough time, but it's really funny how it went about. But we were walking in a supermarket, and the whole thing in Russia is black people aren't very common because a lot of Russians are white. And because of that, there's a lot of discrimination, a lot of ban against them. And a lot of things, if they do come from Africa or whatever, they most likely speak English, which for me was great. So Elder Stone tells me, go speak to him, he speaks English. I go over, he speaks English. And for the rest of the day, we actually hang out with him. And he is a Jehovah's Witness. His father is actually a king of a tribe in Nigeria. Was a king of a tribe, but gave up the mantle so that he could carry on being a Jehovah's Witness, which makes me a prince, which was super awesome. And he decided that he wanted to get baptized in the church, and the smile on his face when he got baptized was just incredible. Afterwards.
Oh, bless him.
His
smile on your face as well. You look pretty happy too.
Yeah, it was a good one.
So where are these with all the snow and the trees and?
So that was when I was serving with Elder Gilbert. That's a little city outside of Yekaterinburg called Revdar. And that was just when winter started. And it was beautiful. We got on top of a mountain and I thought, this is the Rocky Four shot right here when Stallone's shouting out Drago. I promised my dad Drago that I'd get the picture. I was very happy.
Brilliant.
Elder Gilbert and Dima.
More military stuff again.
Uh-huh.
You stop me anywhere if you want to pick on a particular picture or.
I mean,
like your food as well.
Well, the food there is incredible. And a picture on the left right there with the beans on toast was actually the only time that I ate beans on toast on my mission. There was a member who in Yekaterinburg who served in Manchester. And there are a lot of people in the mission boundaries who had served in England, and they thought, okay, let's have an English night, let's have an English club. And we were allowed to go on splits with members, which was really fun. Mm-hmm. So what I did is I went on split with someone called Sasha, who's an amazing guy. He served in London, and we went on splits. We went over, and we just had a great night. And obviously, good spiritual thought, had a good message. It was really good just to have that good nostalgic feel.
Yeah, small world in the church, isn't it?
Yeah.
This is obviously the coast somewhere.
So that's in a city called Izhevsk, and that's just a lake. But yeah, it was pretty down there.
Oh, heck, you got some great pictures.
That's also in Izhevsk.
Wow, beautiful. Is this your companion?
So the camera that I had kept on missing of the date, so that's actually the day I got off the plane from London to Utah.
Okay.
That's the first missionary that I met up with, and we were heading down to the MTC together.
Sounds like there's a story here, Hyrum.
So that's my trainer.
Okay.
And in our mission, we didn't have smartphones until the very end. And so we had to go to the office if we wanted to email home in Yekaterinburg. And we were actually waiting for the sisters to finish. And Brother Stone was very funny with the sisters and very much exaggerated everything. And to have a lot of fun with them. And that morning he was just done with it. And was trying to show the sisters that it's how I turn on the computers without having to say anything.
Looks like you tired him out. Well, okay, we'll jump back to some pictures in a moment, but going into your mission, what did you find the biggest challenge? Was it the language? Was it the homesickness? Or what was the biggest challenge that you faced?
A couple of places very different. For the most part, for me, it was definitely the language. I personally felt that a way that you show the Russian people that you love them is that you try to learn their language. They're very proud of the Russian language. It's one of the hardest in the world. If you show them that you can speak it, they automatically, not automatically feel it from you, but they sense that you're really trying hard. So for me, that was a really difficult one because I found the language really hard at the beginning. Another part was very much my self-confidence, me showing that I can actually do something on my own, and then learn to rely on the law for that, realizing that everything I do have is actually mine. It's the law, obviously. And being able to understand that and use that, it didn't necessarily have an issue, and that helped a lot with the language as well.
How long did it take you to get a grasp of the language?
Still learning. I didn't start speaking properly until I started training after a year. And before that, I couldn't get a word out.
Yeah. And jump into maybe some of the funner stuff. What are some of your fun memories, the things that put a smile on your face when you think back?
Mostly some of the P days that we did. Obviously, being in Russia, that means you can do a lot of fun stuff with the district. One of my favorite ones was when we went skiing on a frozen lake, which was super fun. And we had not just the district, but all the volunteers in Yekaterinburg to celebrate his birthday. And it was really cheap. It was like a quick 20 to rent out some skis. And you can ski on the lake for at least like 2-3 hours. Another one we did was we went on a high ropes course. And so we got told by a member, it's like, hey, this is super awesome high ropes course, I'll pay for you, don't worry, I know some guys over there. And this is my first time being something, okay, I need to ring president, maybe it's okay. And I rang him like 20 times. He's just been called to the mission as well, so it's really busy. Rang a million times, and then I think, okay, stuff, I've rang him, I've been on all those kind of things. Let's just go and do it. He knows what's going on. So we get on it about halfway. He calls me. It's like, hey, you rang me like a billion times. Is everything okay? And I'm in the middle of this course. I'm like, oh yeah, everything's fine. Don't worry about it. Then he finds out later, and he has a huge laugh about it. Some of the fun things. Mostly the most fun things is when you're able to make solid friendships with them and talk. Just because a lot of the time over there, you can't get any work done legally unless they can class you as one of their friends. Which helped me a lot because it helped me understand that I'm not just trying to get people into the fun just because it's helping them get on the covenant path because they're friends. And just making friendships just having fun with your companion, getting the work done. That's the most fun I might have on that mission, honestly.
Sure, sure. Let's skip through a few more pictures here. How do you feel when you look back on pictures like this, and you know,
Miss it.
does it feel like a distant memory, or is it something that's still, I don't know, pretty close to, you keep it close to? I'd say that because when I came back from my mission, it felt like I'd been in a cocoon for 2 years. Or it was a dream, or it was a strange feeling. How do you feel when you look back?
I don't necessarily. I say when I definitely like came back for the first week or so, that I was thinking, yeah, it's like what just happened where I've been for the last 2 years. But now I look back on it and I start to realize some things that I'd actually done, and I was thinking, okay, I've actually set the mission for 2 years now. This is really cool.
And when you think about some of your more spiritual experiences, you know, if you had one or two things that, you know, you really felt the Holy Ghost, or times of growth for yourself personally, where would you go if you were to think about the spiritual moments?
So obviously a couple times I was very, very lucky to have been able to go to the temple every 3 months. Very lucky. I had a lot of spiritual experiences there. Just being able to feel the spirit in that much abundance was really refreshing. On to the next 2 transfers. A lot of the time as well, for me, was seeing growth in those that I trained. Like, there's no better feeling that I felt my mission than having a missionary who's a friend who's just come in, get something that clicks, and you see them just take steps forward, whether it be with contacting, whether it be with having a spiritual question answered, or anything like that. And just seeing them get through it, for me at least, the spirit just like hits me. It's like, okay, you've been good. It really hits hard.
Yeah. And if you look at Hyrum Grant, the 18-year-old going on a mission, and then you fast forward to Hyrum Grant, the return missionary, where do you think you've grown the most?
Most probably with the self-confidence and understanding that what I say has meaning. Before the mission, I was very introverted, very self-conscious, very I thought a lot about what other people thought of me. Not to say that I don't do that now, but I don't do it in as much an abundance. It's for the mission, I was very blessed to have companions and friends that I did who were very confident, who were very extroverted, who were very going out and doing. They were able to show me and teach me to not be scared to do that kind of stuff. Very much like you go on a mission so you can teach other people, so you can show people the gospel, you can show people happiness if they want it. I feel very blessed with myself because I feel that I learned a lot more than I gave. And I probably assume that a lot of the missionaries feel the same way as well. But for me, at least, having that and also being able to be spiritually self-reliant, where I know if something happens, anything whatsoever, and then I can still go back to it, and I can still pay my tithing, and I can do all these things. So I was just learning for myself. It was all true.
It's good. Good. We talked a little bit about the first couple of areas. What other areas did you serve in? And tell us about some of those opportunities and the companionships and the leadership roles you played and things like that.
Okay, so the first area was Humarsh. I was there for 3 transfers with Elder Stone for 2 and Elder Paul for 1. And then I was in UCAT First Branch for 2 transfers with Elder Gilbert for 1, and then I was in a trio with Elder Gilbert and Elder Stromper. being in a trail was the absolute best part of it. And then after that, I was sent to HCC College, where I actually opened and closed the city. I was with Robert Butler. He's amazing. He's so much fun. I had a lot of growth in that time as well, because I was very much struggling with a lot of things. And I set me up to serve in Perm for 3 transfers, which is my favorite city. I love Perm, everybody in it. The members there are incredible. So there for 3 transfers, one with Elder Paulson. He left, and then I started training Elder Popham for 3 transfers. Incredible order. Then after that, I went back to his desk for about 2 weeks with Elder Turner, who's from Australia, and he's one of the missionaries that I really wanted to serve with throughout my entire mission. But what ended up happening was there were a couple problems going on in a city called Ufar. And the mission president called me and said, okay, I need you over there to sort this out. And we'll trade an elder over to Ijevsk. So I got switched over in an emergency transfer. And I was training the elder and also the district leader. And then after that, I was in Ufar again in a trio training 2 trainees. It was super fun. I definitely learned a lot in that process. They're both incredible. And after that, Elder Wyatt left to Cebu, and I was training Elder Richardson, district leader, zone leader, which was a lot. I very much appreciated the experience. And then after that, I served in Yekaterinburg 2nd branch again, where I was training Elder Rustan, my last companion, district leader, zone leader in 8. It was really fun.
Nice.
That was it until the end of my mission.
Nice. Well, let's have a last flick through some of those last pictures, and then we'll bring it to a close. I was watching this one before. You put some videos on as well, which are great. I think you come in at about 1 minute 30. Yes.
So what happened there is, so this was actually a pre-Easter activity. We had a goal from the, what was it? The area presidency. They wanted to get 500 people out to a meeting for the entire mission. We got it. We got 521, which was awesome. This was a way of introducing people to the church. I was thinking, do I do the upper bob? Do I not? To try and get other people involved. And a sister comes up to me and says, look, if you do it, I'll do it. So I do it. And she ends up doing it, but cheats. And in that video next to it as well, that's me and Elder Gilbert were trying to help this. That was not coming out anymore. Come back, and we actually wrote a song with him to perform at a talent show. Oh, wow. And he's not a bunch of guy we super awesome. He plays the guitar like nobody I've ever heard. We would often go to his house, to his work, and his work was he was a guitar tutor. He had this like really grungy garage in the middle of the city, and you'd go in, it's like smoke, there's red carpet on the walls, this huge drum set. And for the first 10 minutes of every meeting, he would just play for us. It was incredible. Nice. So the old harmonica's coming out on some of these as well. And are these some of your P days, some of these pictures when you're out and about? Yeah. So that first one on the left is at the Finland Temple, and then the ones after it are pictures in, they call it an air museum, an open air museum, but it's basically like this really old Russian village that they've ordered and turned it into a museum that you can just walk. And so we went there with the district and a couple of friends. That's in Yekaterinburg. Yeah. One of the older buildings. And that's in an ice cave, which is super cool. Wow. They've got this old cave and put water everywhere and made these really cool ice things and lights, and you just walk through for an hour. It's really awesome.
Now, I'm no good at Russian, but I know what this place is.
Yeah, it's a supermarket.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, very good with the McDonald's.
That's in Perm as well.
Nice.
And that's where we met David Archuleta.
Okay. Was this in Vegas?
That's him, yeah. We went on a visa trip again. So we go through Moscow and then to Finland. And this was actually whilst the youth conference was going on. David Archuleta was going there to sing. And we were all waiting on this bus to go over to Finland on the plane. And I see him walk around, like, I'm speaking to all the other missionaries. I was like, that's David Archuleta. And they're like, no, it's not. I was like, okay, stuff. And I walked over to him. I was like, David, right? Like, yeah. And we started having a conversation. And we ended up being on the same flight, going to the temple, and actually went through a session. It was super awesome.
Oh, please tell me you didn't ask him for his autograph.
No, of course not, no. He was actually the one who asked for the picture.
Right.
It was super awesome.
It's great. You've got loads of great footage and content. And
Okay. That was the last district whilst we're in lockdown. A lot of the time, like for the first week or so, we weren't given any direction of what to do. So what we did was just like, okay, well, let's just try and do something. We ended up hanging out in the district a lot and trying to get work done, which was super awesome. A lot of the time we actually went out playing basketball because my companion at the time was going to go do basketball at university. We'd get contacts that way, we'd get friends that way, which is super awesome.
Yeah. Well, I see you've grown in confidence in this picture. You're not camera shy here, are you?
No, we just finished a fireside with one of my really good friends. He is the area psychological doctor. Okay. He's from Japan, so he taught our mission how to make some Japanese cuisine, which is super fun. And that was one of Elder Tottenham's his like huge contacting things. He was very big on slacklining, it's called. And what we would do nearly every day in Perm is we'd set up slacklining in one of the main parks in Perm. And people would just like come around and watch and be like, hey, do you want to go? Like, have fun. And we'd just start natural conversations. And it was fun as well.
Nice. Nice.
And then that's Tucson and Cynthia with my companion. They're incredible. They're also from Nigeria. And it's crazy. They had a really rough time with finances, with trying to find work because of lockdown, because of the whole COVID situation. And every week or so, we'd go out and serve them, help them as much as we could. And it led to them joining the church, being members of the church. And Cynthia, the one on the right, is actually planning on serving a mission soon, which is really awesome.
Oh, lovely. Lovely. There's a couple of themes I'm picking up on your pictures. One is the love of food, and the other one is just your big smile. You had a great time, didn't you?
I wouldn't trade it for anything. The people that we were there with, like, the main joy came from the people. Most were trying to move like 3 different apartments in one day before that, and it was nuts. That was a Tucson Cynthia's baptism.
Beautiful.
Special. It was during COVID as well. It was all the elders that came. Them.
Oh, that's excellent. What do you miss the most about your mission?
Honestly, most probably the family that we had as a mission. The big things that I tried to push for my mission was to get a mission in such a way that you wouldn't be afraid of speaking to anyone, you would feel comfortable with whoever you were with. And especially between the elders, we had like this kind of brotherhood almost of wherever we were, we just had fun, a good time, making sure that we were doing our purpose. We were speaking about the right things, we were thinking about the right things. doing the right things, whilst having a smile on her face, whilst laughing, whilst just being kind to her. It was awesome. I very much miss everybody there.
Good. And then obviously you finished your mission. You alluded to lockdown earlier. They were the last times, and then you get your date, you're coming home, and you come back, you meet family, and now you're looking back and on those fond memories and how you grew. And just to maybe close this, how about hearing a little bit of Russian from you, whether it's a testimony or some of your thoughts, and then we'll wrap this up.
Sounds good. Если кто-то из вас понимаете русский язык, то вам повезло. Я очень рад за возможность служить в России и за то, что у меня была возможность учить русский язык. Я знаю, что это Евангелие истина очень. Никак еще не можешь думать, если чувствуешь Духа Святого. Я знаю, что это церковь истины, я знаю, что нормально, просто это реально слово Бога. Вот. Фиг вам, если что, во имя Иисуса Христа. Аминь.
I take it that was amen.
Yeah.
Well, look, Hyrum, thanks for sharing your pictures, some of your thoughts, some of your memories, and the good times, the tough times, how you've grown and learned. And I wish you all well with your future, and really appreciate you taking the time. Thanks, Hyrum.
Thanks. No worries. Thank you.